So, of course, guys, we got something a little special for you. We have seen, no, it's not already 2-0 for Thomas. That would be way too quick.
Absolutely not.
We have a special deck that we haven't seen on stream so far. Actually, 2 decks I think we haven't seen on stream so far.
Indeed.
It is Spright, but with a twist, which is the Life and Evil Twin engine. And on the other side, on Guillaume's side, we have the Scareclaw engine that you have seen in the coverage, but not in the featured matches.
Indeed, yeah. We had a deck profile about it. Actually, we had deck profiles about both decks. We also showed the Life Twin engine. And one thing about the Life Twin engine nowadays is you only play with their level and Link 2s, but you don't really go into the big monster that was originally the boss monster of the deck, the Troubled Sunny. And I'm pretty sure Thomas is not going to get into it this turn because he just started his turn off with the Spright starter.
Hot take, Basti. Hot take.
Absolutely, thank you very much. But yeah, that Life Twin Spright deck is one of those decks that plays Spright cards, but still has access to Totally Awesome because, funnily enough, one of those Life Twin monsters, the Quizzical Frost, is an Aqua. So you have access to Aqua monsters. Totally Awesome is not out of the question anymore, as it is for a lot of other Spright variants, such as the Spright Runic deck. And therefore, he has more to do with this deck than just regular Spright, I would say.
There is still the option to play Totally Awesome in the Runic Spright deck. However, the decks that played this small frog engine did not perform too well, I think. I haven't seen any at the top table during the rounds of the Italian casters. Of course, Basti and I are always walking through the aisles and are scouting for the best decks to feature.
Yeah, indeed. And so far, no interruption. He got his Spright Red out as well, and now Gigantic is resolving already. And we are special summoning out. Look, he's actually special summoning out the Life Twin Quizzical Frost, which is the one that is Aqua. And therefore, he will probably have access to Totally Awesome. But now he's linking one of them away, so he would need another Aqua monster to actually get into it.
That is true. So he's going into the Spright Elf. So he's summoning back the Quizzical Frost again. Maybe he has another one in hand that... No, it can't be special summoned due to this.
Oh,
okay,
no.
so
We just go for IP Masquerena, I guess.
Okay.
That would be the... or maybe also... Yeah, it is IP Masquerena.
It is IP, and so there is a neat little combo on the table right now.
That is indeed true, but he didn't really went for a super big Life Twin combo.
Nope.
We didn't see the Link monsters, we didn't see Evil Twin Quizzical, we didn't see Evil Twin Lila hitting the field, because normally this is like the two Link 2s working together, special summoning back each other. But right there, he just relies on his Spright cards, used that one Quizzical Frost monster as a level 2 body, but that was all. And there we see on Guillaume's side, it is the usual matchup. Tearlament versus Spright, but with a twist, as he said, with cool other engines thrown into the decks.
We haven't seen too many Tearlaments on this stream.
True.
And contrary to the European Championship, you gotta be honest. And I'm actually really happy to see one right here. Also, this is something that players have picked up mostly after Euros, the branded in High Spirits engine, which prevents you from getting cherried on Tearlament's Kit Carlos most of the time.
This card has risen in popularity drastically. Like, honestly, at Euros we had like maybe 1 or 2 players with that package in the top cut, but after Euros everybody was realizing how good this package is, and I think it's almost somewhat of a staple nowadays.
Yeah.
When Tearlament's players build the deck right now, most of the time this package is in the main deck, honestly.
Yeah, this card can, if you go first, actually let you play a little versus cards like Dimensional Shifter, because you can just chain it to Dimensional Shifter and then get out a Dragostapelia by fusioning your Tearlament card that you want to discard with Branded in High Spirits and D3 as Frog.
Indeed, and now they're actually terraforming, but not on the usual Tearlament field spell. He's rather going for the primitive planet Reichphobia, which is the Scareclaw part of the deck. And so we are probably going to see that being activated. There we go, Reichphobia on activation, as Pearl Rhino is searching for something. And what is he searching for here in this case?
He is probably going to search for either Visas Starfrost. Yeah, it is going to be Visas Starfrost. This is the key card of the Tearlament and Scareclaw deck.
Yeah, and therefore it is playing 3 copies.
Yeah. Of course. Let me just get it up for you guys.
But there is the other field spell of the deck. He's playing both of them, the Pearl Rhino and also the Reichphobia. 3 copies of Pearl Rhino, 2 copies of Reichphobia, which maybe gives you a little bit of an indication which of the 2 engine is like a little bit more prominent in the deck. But still, the Scareclaw engine gets used quite heavily in the combo that the deck is performing in turn 1.
This actually stops you from getting your full combo, I think, because you want to search for Reichphobia with your Lightheart that you summon off of Visas Starfrost. And then you could search the Reichheart that gets you the Arrival.
Yeah, true. But I mean, in going second scenarios, it's always a little bit different.
Yeah.
You always try to find some cool routes to play around the board that your opponent set up. So you will rarely go for your standard combo that you would have gone for just in a turn 1 scenario when you go first. So I think Guillaume is just trying to figure out something here to go through the stuff. Look, he's even discarding the Visa Starfrost for Shiren there. And what are we milling?
Albion is milled, the Reinhardt is milled, and another Perlerino. That is not what you want to see. I can't lie to you.
Yeah, not really, because there's no particular way to get those cards back going. Does Albion have a grave effect, though?
I don't know, he pointed at it.
I think there is a graveyard effect, but he already used the effect in hand, so it would not be able to be used this turn anymore. So we are going further with the Scareclaw Arrival. This is also not really a card you want to draw, because that is as well a card you want to search for in your combo. So Guillaume actually drew into a couple of cards that you don't really want to have in your starting hand, because the field spell gets searched with the Link monster, and this card gets usually searched with your other Scareclaw Reinhardt.
Yeah, and this is a kind of a drawback to the Scareclaw engine, because you have to play multiple copies of your searchable cards, because there is a high chance of milling them when you activate Shiren or Merly effect. And that means that you draw them more often, so sometimes you have multiple copies of those in hand, and that's not ideal. But now we are seeing
the upside. There is the upside of that engine. You actually have access to synchro plays, and that is a pretty strong one there, because Baron de Fleur, since its release, was one of the most impactful synchro monsters of all time. You can pop one card on the opponent's side of the field once per turn, and also once while this card is face up on the field, you can get a negate out of it.
That is indeed true, and now we are going to see what the back row on Thomas's side is after the effect resolves or not. Maybe the card will be negated this turn. I'm actually curious to see if Guillaume has further Tillement plays, because this Perlerino helps you to play through boards so easily. Every time you fusion something from the GUI and shuffle a card back to your deck, or not shuffle it back, but put it under your deck, Perlerino destroys a card on your opponent's side of the field.
It's actually funny that with his Telements deck here, he performed a Synchro Summon before he even performed the Fusion Summon, because usually that's not like that.
So now this is a critical point, because if Guillaume thinks that he can maybe OTK, he really wants to negate this Effect Veiler here to get the pop through, if he thinks that this game will be over in a turn.
But there's still IP Masquerena. You gotta remember this card. That could also
But I mean, if he doesn't negate it, then the Baron can't negate the IP.
That's also true. Yeah, you kind of have to negate it. That Veiler is not really doing that much, because Baron will stay on the field. But in this specific scenario, it's really annoying. Guillaume probably has to negate it here, but he's taking his time to decide on that.
So they are having a kind of a stare-off. Actually, just Guillaume has a stare-off. Thomas is looking at the cards.
Yeah, Thomas is hiding.
Trying to intimidate his opponent. So Elf is being activated, which would probably mean that IP could be chained, actually. Oh, Smashers!
But there's
that makes
Smashers.
More sense.
That is the card that was targeted by the Baron, so the Baron pop will basically go into nothing, and it will not destroy anything on
But
resolve.
it got out the Veiler, so...
actually true.
Actually kind of surprised.
The Veiler could have been the last chain link, right? You could have just chained the Smashers and then
why
went
would he
the other way
Veiler
around.
then? Yeah, okay. Right. I mean, it doesn't really matter, right? He could have just chained Smashers and got the negate out.
Oh, but there's the normal summon of Rhinoheart, so maybe we're about to see some fusion plays
really
finally.
Strong. I mean, we are seeing the last card in hand of Thomas, or I have seen it at least. Our screens are a little bit bigger than yours, so we might have some insights that you don't have. There is a Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit in the hand of Thomas.
But what is the card you want to hit with that? Do you instantly want to go after the kit colors, because that would trigger in the graveyard? I don't advise that, to be fair. But what would be your card versus the Telements matchup that you're hitting with Ghost Ogre?
I mean, maybe... Oh! Starter was Starter activated?
Yes, it was.
Because it kind of looked like he used Elf, but that wouldn't make
any sense. he specialed out both Red and Jet right there. So both Elf and Starter were used.
Okay, so this is interesting now, because this is the only interruption here is Red and Ogre. And if Harvness gets activated, I'm pretty sure that Red will negate it.
Yeah, you have to, right? There can also not be that many cards in hand left for Guillaume. I think I see one card in hand, and that would need to be a very, very impactful one there.
Okay, but however, was Jet in the same chain?
Yeah, definitely. Rhinoheart activated,
Great.
put something to the graveyard, and he also chained the starter and the elf, and therefore everything is now activating.
Ah, okay, perfect.
But wait, that does mean that you cannot negate it with red anymore, right? Because turn player is Guillaume, so chaining 1 will always be Hafnis here, and then chaining 2 will be Jet.
He doesn't activate Jet, apparently.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, super polymerization.
wow.
Discard the arrival. Take apart these 2 monsters and you can actually summon a Garura. And this might actually be game because he paid so many life points already. Pearl Rhino boosts Garura up to plus 500 onto 2000 and it deals double damage together with the Rhino Heart. This is 5500 damage. I'm trying to see at how much life points is. 5600. This is a joke. He is 100 life points off of game. No, Rhino Heart is getting boosted as well. This is
Indeed.
OTK.
I'm
this
pretty
is
sure
game.
This is going to be game. That's super polymerization. It was not only 1 card in hand, but 2, so he had a discard for the super poly. And
he's reading Garura. Garura deals double damage, so this might actually be the game 1 for Guillaume with the super polymerization.
I did not see that one coming. It looked pretty decent for Thomas, who went first, but this super polymerization. We didn't talk a lot about super polymerization this weekend. It didn't have a super huge impact so far, but in this featured match, it brings him to picking up his cards. 1-0 for Guillaume with his Teal-Man Scareclaw deck.
We did not see that much of the Scareclaw engine. I mean, he went into Baron. Actually, there was a lot of the Scareclaw engine, gotta be honest here. But this super polymerization was game deciding. We were thinking, okay, there can't be that much left in the hand. Super polymerization was everything. Double starter to pay life points hurt him so much.
Indeed, indeed. I mean, he did not pull up the greatest opening ever, I would say, because as we talked about it, he did not go into the Link 2 monsters with his Evil Twin Archetype. So usually you want to end on those as well, so you have more interruptions. But still, there was quite a bit, and anyhow he managed to play through it, even though he had double field spell, and he didn't even use the field spell pop effect when a fusion summon is performed. That was quite interesting and quite impressive as well, and that super polymerization really made a difference right there.
I mean, there was no fusion summon performed, right?
At all, none.
No,
not a single one.
Teal-Man's not a fusion deck, apparently. So you can... Oh, wait, there was one with super polymerization.
Yes, the Garura came out indeed, yeah. So let's check on the side decks. Guillaume, now in the going second scenario, as he was in game 1, but he can now upgrade his deck even further, and he has the option to go with Lightning Storm first of all, which is versus this deck pretty good. It's not as strong as versus other variants though, because there is Totally Awesome most likely on the end board. In game 1 it wasn't though, so maybe there won't be another, it won't be there for another time. But let's see. Also, there is a
Nibiru, the Primal Being. This is a card that has fallen out of favor a little bit in the player base. However, versus Life Twin, this card is crazy.
If he really is going for the Life Twin Evil Twin combo, it's definitely going to be over 5 summons. It's just a question of whether Gigantic Spright resolved before that, and that's always the issue with Spright decks, of course. But I think that's probably going to be about it. Maybe Cosmic Cyclones as well. Those are so popular, but that's not the most reasonable matchup to side it in versus.
You could argue for Skill Ring going second as well, because it helps. It kind of helps breaking boards.
Yep, true.
However, you have seen your opponent end on IP, Masquerade, and Elf, so you really don't want to end on too much back row at all, because then you will get the Robo-Roast.
Indeed, indeed. So let's see what's there. Going first for his opponent, though, we see a Pointer. I'm pretty curious about that. The Pointer still being a staple in a lot of side decks, even though now only 1 copy of it is available to the players. People still really, really like this card. They're siding it in masses, and I saw a bunch of players at the top tables also resolving it more than once. And let's see whether that's going to be resolved one more time here in this feature match, because players are ready for game number 2. So let's go back into the action. Here we are. Thomas once more going first, and maybe his hand is more promising this time. Maybe he gets more gas going. I think I saw Smashers and Ash, which are both not really extenders you want to have in your opening hand.
Not really, but he is starting with the Life Twin
Sunny Snitch. We are having Sunny Snitch, and Sunny Snitch is a permanent spell card which gives you access to all of your main deck monsters. And he searched for the Life Twin Lila, which he's instantly summoning to the field. And he's also activating his effect, and it's getting met by the Hafnis in hand of Guillaume.
Yeah, and you have to Harvest really early in these matchups because as soon as, wow, Ash Blossom activated, so he does not want to take this gamble that Guillaume could hit another name and then immediately summon a Dragostapelia to the field, because Dragostapelia does not only negate cards, it also has the effect to put them down to level 1, which is crucial because then you cannot go into Gigantic Spright anymore.
People forget about that, but right there it would have not even been that meaningful because he had Spright Blue anyways, right? So one level 2 monster would have been there for sure. And also in this matchup where Guillaume is playing the Scareclaw package as well, you know that he maybe is not playing that many Telements cards in the first place. So I think it's an interesting decision to Ash Blossom the Hafnis there.
So, and here we are seeing the Gigantic Spright playing around Nibiru. Let's see if this resolves. It absolutely does. So Nibiru is out of the picture here. If Guillaume has it, he is going to be sad. His opponent is not playing into his strongest hand trap.
Indeed, and we're special summoning out Spright Red once again. And I think this time there might even be a way to go for that totally awesome we were anticipating in game 1 already. But there he would need another level 2 monster for that. And there is it. We have the Spright Jet. So I think we can go for that.
Yeah, it is going to search out another starter, which is not bad. He has smashes in hand as well, and starter just gives you more and more resources for the next turn to possibly win this game.
Of course, there's Spright Elf now.
The actual ace card of the deck, Spright Elf, the generic Link 2 monster that brings us joy every time it's summoned to the field. And now we might actually see some...
Oh, it's still going to be IP Masquerena. Oh, no, wait. Yeah, you're right. We will actually finally go into the Evil Twin package, the extra deck package of the deck, and it's Evil Twin Kizikil we're seeing. And it is instantly followed by Evil Twin Lila as well. He's on 2 Kizikil, 1 Lila in his extra deck, and that's the opening he wanted to have. But again, now he's locked into Link 2. He's locked into Link 2, so there will not be a troubled Sunny.
So he is still going into a Kizikil again to, in the next turn, revive the Lila.
And there's also the triple tactic talents. There was the Hafnis being activated. That's great for him there.
Okay, so Visa Starfrost, 2 names. That's a bit unfortunate. And I think this is 2 branded in High Spirits, which
looks
is not
like
good.
It. Yep, it's not great. But what do you think about the decision of Thomas to wait so long with that triple tactic talents? Because he could have activated that ages ago, and he could have maybe formed his own turn around the opponent's hand a little more, but decided to wait for it very long.
Maybe he drew it with the Kizikil.
Oh yeah, probably, most likely. That's the only solution that makes sense, and I'm pretty sure that's what happened there. And he's thinking about it heavily. I think you are probably going after Shiren, right? Yes, indeed you do. He is shuffling back the Shiren right there.
I mean, you know that you have quite a few interactions. So at this point, you can just actually take the Shiren to take your opponent's options out, because he would have to summon Harvest to destroy it with Visa Starfrost. And you can't take away Branded in High Spirits because there are 2 copies of it.
Yeah, that would be absolutely not the play. But then, on the other hand, it was a pretty insane draw to get that triple tactic talents. I mean, we were curious why he didn't activate it earlier, but the draw with the Kizikil there was definitely great, and I was definitely loving that. And there's his super polymerization from the top once again.
This one is really strong. Branded in High Spirits discarded as he has to anyways.
Oh my, the Spright Evil Twin deck here of Thomas is suffering versus bad super polymerization in game 2, and now also in game number 2. Garura hits the field once more.
So Kizikil still can revive the Lila from the GY and pop a card of your opponents. However, Garura is okay with being popped, and Kitkalos as well. So pops are not really the interactions you want to go for when playing versus a Telements variant.
But we do know that he still has the Smashers. But with Smashers right now, the problem is you don't really have a monster you want to banish with it from the field, because that Kizikil shall reborn the Lila from the graveyard, and you don't want to pop, as we said. So you want to hold back on your pop. So it's really a hard decision right now for Thomas on when to activate the Smashers and also when to activate the reborn effect of Kizikil right there.
So maybe he also has... Oh, he also has the Ash Blossom. We completely forgot about that, right? You talked about it when he drew his starting hand.
Yeah, but he ashed the Hafnis, so I don't think there's another Ash Blossom.
You're right.
He really valued the Ash Blossom on the Hafnis there.
And we know that the other card is starter set as well.
Yep, there is his starter. Okay, so probably... Okay, that actually gives him a level 2 monster, which he can then banish for Smashers in the end.
Yeah.
But you're probably summoning out the Carrot here, aren't you? because you at least want to have some form of interruption.
Or if you want to use smashes on summon, you will go for blue.
But there's also you can also get more engine going. You want to secure to have engine ready, and there's the D3S Frog together with a Telement monster, bringing you the Telement kit colors from the extra deck right onto the field. There it is.
And now I'm thinking he might want to activate. Okay.
I think there's still time, though. I mean, you can still do that on resolve.
Yeah, that's true.
Just let him get into one of those monsters, and then you go for the smashers after he sends something from the deck. So I do like the decision to wait. And also, Leo, if he would have just let that Hafnis go through, he would have even milled the super polymerization instead of drawing it. So that was really unfortunate. I mean, no, he shuffled the deck in between because there was triple tactic talents, but still, like, there was a chance that it was the super polymerization. So that's really unfortunate for Thomas.
I also really don't like ashing Hafnis. It feels a bit bad. I mean, it basically trades one card for nothing.
Yeah, I remember in the beginning versus Danger tier, people were telling me, yeah, you definitely just have to ash the Hafnis, otherwise it snowballs too much.
Yeah.
And at the beginning of the beginning, people were like, yeah, otherwise he's just summoning Winder, and then in the end, nobody was even playing the Winder package anymore, so I was like, yeah, why would I even ash the Hafnis then anymore? And here it's really a situation of that Ash Blossom on Hafnis might have not been the greatest call and might actually be the favoring position that Guillaume gets into here.
Yeah, you could have ashed the Branded and High Spirits, right? That would have been a really good ash.
Yeah, true, indeed. Especially when your opponent has two of them.
Yeah.
When you know that there is another card in hand you can't do anything with.
You deny the plays and you deny the draw as well.
And now Thomas is heavily thinking about whether to do Spright Smashes right here, whether to use it, and yep, he's picking it up, and I'm pretty sure now is a good timing to use it. Yeah. You want to get rid of that kit colors because that card alone is snowballing into so much. You can't really wait for it
Also,
anymore.
he searched out Merely, so that would be a possible mill 8 if he activated the kit colors effect. On the other hand, he can still normal summon Merely, right? Oh, so he's
using both. So is he?
He has another Kizikil in the GY. So
oh,
he can actually get the draw later on because he does not care about the pop, I guess.
Yeah. Looks like it's so. Oh, we do still have Albion, so that means we are just going to get another draw right there. But there's Frost in the graveyard, isn't there? Because people tend to forget about the graveyard effect of Life Twin Kizikil Frost. And that says if a card is added from the main deck to your opponent's hand by a card effect, except during the damage step, while you control an Evil Twin monster, you can banish this card from your graveyard to draw one card as well. So you might actually be drawing into another hand interaction right here. He's banishing it there.
Now.
And look, Guillaume has to pick up the card, so he also forgot about that. And that's pretty good for Thomas to just get into another card right there. And there is the draw indeed. And it's even two draws because of the field effect of Kizikil as well. And so now it's back to Guillaume.
Thomas's hand is actually loaded, so Guillaume really needs to find a way to win this game this turn or actually remove the entire board because Thomas has some cards coming and this is not the mill you want to see unless you have the Hafnis in hand so you can actually trigger the Rhino Heart. And if there are no hand traps, he's just activating Visa Starfrost, which is fine as well.
But there's DD Crow. He drew into DD Crow.
Thomas
drew into DD Crow. That will be massive at some point here in this turn. He definitely used those draws, and he now is showing it to his opponent. He has the DD Crow for the effect of Teelement's Merly, and that will be a pretty big no-no for Guillaume now. He will be stopped heavily in his turn.
Also, I just realized he didn't even have the Hafnis anymore. Because he discarded it for Branded and High Spirits.
True, so, that was the start of his turn.
The Rhino Heart wasn't the best mill, so kind of good for Thomas that he only milled one name, and now we are seeing the Light Heart, which is one of my favorite artworks, and I keep getting this name wrong.
Yeah, Scareclaw Light Heart, the Link 1 of the deck. I think that's a pretty Link 1-y thing, right? Every theme deck basically has a Link 1 that searches out your field spell. That's very similar to Salamangreat Bailings, for example, or also to the Ignister one. And it's the same thing here. We do search out the primitive planet Reichphobia, which is the field spell of the Scareclaw archetype.
And Reichhardt, the next part of the combo, is going to be special summoned out under the Light Heart and searching out the Arrival, which is another extender summoning out a monster in defense position, which can be Visa Starfrost, so he can actually go into a Baron de Fleur. If the Garura was summoned in defense position this turn, he would actually be able to not draw a card. I'm completely mistaken there.
But there is the arrival now. We are reborning as the Visa Starfrost as you were anticipating. And that card is the tuner, and it might actually secure once more, as we had it in game number 1 here in this match, to go for that Baron de Fleur. He really, really loved to summon.
I would really like to see a final Sigma here with Visa Starfrost and Garura.
I doubt it, to be honest.
I
but
kind of
let's
doubt
see.
it as well.
Especially when I see his deck list. There's none of it in the extra deck. I'm so sorry.
So
but we are in the battle phase now,
Reich,
apparently.
I think he used Reichphobia to pop a card.
Oh, true.
I think it says when something is summoned in defense position. If 3 or more defense position monsters are on the field because of Spright Blue being summoned in defense position, he can actually pop a card here.
And he did so. And there's Dark now, and Dark may be an indicator that you are going forward even more, that you are pushing for game here.
I think the list runs Access Code Talker, doesn't it?
Does he?
No.
Nope, he does not run Access Code Talker. That would be huge here, because I think with Access Code Talker, you might very well be able to go for the game here. Even though you summon all of your monsters in defense position, which is a little bit contrarian to the typical OTK deck, to be honest. But I think you might find a way.
Lightheart just reborns itself because Visa Starfrost is on the field, which is another great effect of the card. And I think you can really see how strong the Scareclaw engine is in this deck. Sometimes when you see decks splashed into other meta decks, they just... like the deck benefits a little bit from the engine, but this engine is putting in work.
Absolutely. And honestly, all of that happened off of one card, right?
Yeah.
He was down to so few resources, and now all of a sudden he has a Baron de Fleur on the field, which is ready to negate. It has just popped, and also there's the Dark, which has not even special summoned a monster from the opponent's graveyard yet.
Absolutely. Maybe he is also running Smashers. So
that would be fun, but I can tell you he doesn't.
He does not. Absolutely. You can only fit that many engines in a deck. So he uses Dark. Is he maybe summoning out one of the Link monsters?
He could, for sure.
Or is he just going straight for attack points on the Gigantic Spright, the 1.6k? So this is not even close.
This is the Gigantic Spright. But this is another Dark monster, so... is there any way he could get into Curious? Because this is one of the few decks in the format that is still running Curious. So I think he only has 2 Dark monsters, though, right? Because the Scareclaw Lightheart is also a Dark monster. So actually, there might be the way to the possibility to go into Curious.
Is a Beast Warrior. We have a Thunder in Gigantic Spright, and we have the Dark. So I'm actually curious. Haha. I'm curious to see if he goes into Curious. Okay, enough of that now. Because he can, I think he can just send like Telements cards, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And start fusion summoning. So
do that again.
There could have maybe been game in the on the field because there is a Rhinoheart in the GUI, but no other Aqua monster, I suppose.
Most likely not, yeah. But he is indeed linking away the Gigantic Spright and the other 2 Dark monsters that belong to himself for the Curious or not for the Curious.
Have him.
Nah, he's reconsidering. He may also go for Appaloosa there, which is quite nice too. So those are the 2 options he has here. Look, both of them at the top of his
there we have
deck.
it. Curious, the Lightsworn Dominion, the boss Link monster of the Lightsworn archetype that has been used so many times in combination with a card that was recently added to the Forbidden section of the Forbidden Limited list, Fairy Tail Snow. This is not an option anymore, so Telements Chiron gets sent to the graveyard and will be activated in Chainlink 2 after Curious.
Yeah, so the judges are just clarifying where was he third monster, but he's like, yeah, use his Gigantic Spright, which I reborn. And so he definitely had the materials for the Curious, and we are now activating the effect of Chiron.
This looks like a Dragostapelia.
Indeed, and that's quite good, because you could theoretically, if you find a way to get into another monster, still go for Appaloosa, but you need to hit something really good here. I think, did we use Hafnis even?
Yeah, I think he discarded it for... Oh, but he has another Hafnis in hand, so the Rhinoheart mill is actually quite good, I think.
Yeah, because that could end up being an Appaloosa if he wants to.
Yeah.
He could just make Appaloosa out of the Curious and the Rhinoheart. He could special summon here, but it's rough because that really commits all of your resources basically into that one endboard you're creating. You are really relying on that to be your winning position, and nothing else can happen with it. So but he is passing instead. He wants that Baron plus Dracostopelia to be enough here in this Game 2 of the last round of Swiss in our bubble match.
If you have watched our fun little quiz, Dracostopelia is actually a plant monster that has played this format, and none of you guys actually thought about saying any of the Rika or of the Lokai cards.
True, true.
Which was also a normal monster with 0 attack, by the way.
But everybody knows you're the quiz boss in our whole team, so we can't all have the smart quiz mind as you have. So, but there is there is another Sunny Snitch being activated right there.
Snitches get activated.
Yep, and also that Life Twin Sunny Snitch is actually making quite a bit of damage right there, because you can see Guillaume is down to 6,000 life points, because those little continuous field spells of the Life Twin archetype have a little bit of a burn effect, because every single time your opponent normal or special summons a monster, you do gain 200 life points, and you inflict 200 life points to your opponent's life points as well.
So this must be fun for our judge at the life point too.
Oh yes, I can only imagine.
Not having a good time. So
but we
have the small Kizikil, right?
Yes, Life Twin Kizikil, and it instantly gets negated by the Dracostopelia, and we're also activating Hafnis, hitting Visa Starfrost, Lightning Storm, and
there
a
we have a Rhino Heart. And Rhino Heart won't get triggered, however, Curious gets triggered, so there is another chance to hit a... And this is the scoop from Thomas. Guillaume just wins the game. There was no follow-up after Dracostopelia negated the Life Twin Kizikil, and Guillaume wins this 2-0 with a convincing Scareclaw engine.
Absolutely. I wasn't sure what to think about that engine.
Same.
Because I talked to a couple of guys that are running this in the main event, and I'm actually quite convinced, honestly. Like, in that Game 2, that one card he was activating off of the Scareclaw part of his deck was really giving him the upper hand. It really got him going again. It really got him into the favorable position he needed to be in.
There was nothing his opponent could do, basically. I mean, he had such a strong start.
Yeah.
He opened with all the... with Smashers, with the Twin engine.
Yeah, starter on top of everything.
13 cards in total.
Yeah, DD Crow in the meantime as well. That was really, really a strong opening for him for sure.
And he just got stomped.
Yeah, absolutely. So maybe Life Twin Spright, not the best call. Maybe Runic Spright taking the upper hand for this event. We are going to see in the top cut how many of them we will have. We will have a breakdown for that. But first of all, we do actually have a breakdown for the whole event as well. So we might as well just look into that. So let's look into our deck breakdown for the event right now. I think it's a pretty good time to do that.
Perfect. There we have it. Those are surprising numbers. I mean, it says Telements is the most played deck in all variants, though. So there are also different Telements variants. So actually, there are 11% Spright, 10% Runic Spright, so only 21% Sprites. This is kind of a diverse metagame we have here, because we also have the Mathmax, Runics, and the Fluanderies on 7%. By the way, Table 1 is a Fluanderies mirror match.
This is insanity, right? Table 1 is a Fluanderies mirror match. I think it's 2 Italian players, actually. So the Italians with their Fluanderies decks really are performing this event. And I will ask you one thing. What's the most surprising number you see here, or you saw there on screen?
That the combined number of Telements and Spright versions is below 50%.
Okay, that's a good point. I will add something from my side. I'm honestly quite a bit surprised by the number of Runic Sprites, because when you walk through the top tables, it feels like it's more than that, because it really feels like this deck is the main contender in the room. You are seeing quite a few mirror matches as well. We didn't see one right there in the feature match, but we saw a lot of them at the top table.
Oh, we saw a Runic Spright mirror match.
Yeah. Last round, but not this round. I mean. Before we had that as well.
This deck has such a crazy conversion rate.
Indeed, it must have, right? So many of them are at the top tables, but not that many in the event in total, apparently. Apparently there are more Telements players, but as you already pointed out,
it's really close. It's 23% to like 21% combined. And there we have it. Scareclaw engine in the Telements deck has officially topped the YCS Utrecht, because Guillaume just advanced to the top 64. And let's just think what he thinks about it. Hear what he thinks about it.
Hi guys, I am joined by Guillaume, who, as you say, has now topped this YCS with the Scareclaw Telements. Very, very exciting. Guillaume, congratulations. How does it feel to be topping this event so far?
Yeah, I'm pretty happy. I tested a lot of this deck, and I found it really good, and I'm happy to top with it.
What is it that attracted you to Scareclaw? Because that's not one that we've seen that often. There are some people playing it, but what is it that you like about the Scareclaw variety?
I mean, Starfrost is really good to push through and trap because it can trigger your tier. Also, it helps you extend. It doesn't lose to Dweller, even if I doesn't face a lot of mirror. I think it's the best engine to combine with True Elements to have a great deck.
So what were some of the decks that you've not found so easy to go up against with this current setup?
I mean, not much. Today and yesterday I played like 9 Spright variants. I won 7 of them and 1 draw and 1 lose. So I have also a good Spright matchup because of my tech card like Super Poly and stuff like that.
Well, speaking of Super Poly, I want to go through some of the plays of those two games because, you know, Thomas paid quite a lot of life points with those starters and things, and then you took advantage with that with the Super Poly and the boosted attack in game 1. And then game 2 was the Super Poly again. And the only one downside was getting hit by a DD Crow a couple of points. What was going through your mind? Were you pretty confident the whole time that you knew what you were doing and you knew how to deal with everything?
Yeah, the game 2 I wasn't that much confident when it talented my hand. My hands was okay, but not good enough. And then I top deck Super Poly, and then I started to feel confident and could push through all this stuff.
Absolutely. Well, I hope those Super Polys come up again for your top cut matches. It'd be great to see you sailing on through to the final with this Scareclaw deck. But that's really awesome, Guillaume. Congratulations again. Best of luck in those top cut matches. I hope they go well. Guys, don't go anywhere. We've got a little bit of a wait before we get into those top cut matches. We're going to be bringing you some more content while we wait for those matches to start. Don't go anywhere. It's going to be great.